Now your partner just found out you're cheating and you're trying to figure out what to do next. You're trying to figure out which direction to go first. And I want to give you some practical things to think about as a licensed therapist and somebody who has, before finding the right one and getting settled down and getting married, has cheated in previous relationships. And these are things I wish somebody told me, even though I was able to process them and work through those issues. It could have been a lot easier and a lot less tragic, or it could have been more simple if I would have just did these few things. The first thing is, if you were cheating in a relationship, the first thing you need to do is get some help. That's the first point blank thing you need to do is get some help. Help meaning not help from your friends, not help from like family members. Like, I'm talking about some professional help. I'm talking about talking to a therapist. I'm talking about working on your mental health, because you decided to break a commitment that you made with somebody by cheating or talking to or having sex with somebody else. Now, the reason why I say get help isn't outside the obvious, but the getting help comes with you exploring and figuring out, why is it that you cheated? Why is it that you cheated? Why is it that you felt the need for you to step outside of your relationship, step outside of your marriage? Why did you feel the need that you had to actually engage with this person? And typically, especially with men, it is outside of us just like being horny, us just like wanting to have sex. It's way beyond that. One thing that I had to learn, because that's what I thought, even just in my own experience, was like, okay, well, I'm not getting it here, so I'm gonna try to find it elsewhere. The issue with that is it wasn't that gratification. It wasn't that, okay, now I had sex and that was it and like I'm done. Like, it goes beyond that. It goes beyond that. One thing to explore when you're trying to get help is not only the why you cheated, but what did relationships look like for you growing up? You know, many times when we're in these situations of cheating, or we're in these situations of trying to figure out what to do, we actually have to take a step back and look at, okay, what did relationships look like growing up? What did your relationship with your parents look like? What did it look like for you as a teenager? Like, what was your first heartbreak? What did that look like? Were you ever cheated on before? Thinking about these things is helpful, because unconsciously we may do things just to ensure, one, that the hurt that we experience doesn't happen. And sometimes we may want to get that one up, like, hey, I'm gonna cheat first before this person cheats on me, or I'm not sure about the relationship, so I'm gonna make sure that I have my fun and do whatever I need to do before putting the other person's needs or perspective or their feelings ahead of yours. And there is a pattern that happens subconsciously with our minds when we observe things or observe relationships throughout time. And starting with your parents. Were your parents divorced? Were your parents together? Do you even know, who your mother and father is? Like, how did that impact? Like, did you, as a man, did you have your father in the household? Did you really know, or was you really taught how to love a woman? Were you really taught how is it that you're able to develop a healthy relationship? Women, did you know your parents? Did you know that even the opposite of maybe your father, how that impacted you, and how maybe you seen your mother as more of a, I don't need a man for anything type of, more independent woman, right? And not really taking a man's considerations or a man's feelings into consideration overall. We have to backtrack and think about, when we talk about getting help from, you cheating, where did this all stem from? What are the core beliefs? What are the things you really actually think about in a relationship when it comes down to loyalty, when it comes down to a commitment, when it comes down to what you're actually trying to maybe work on to getting married, right? I think one thing that I had to really notice in my own therapy was looking at the relationship of my own parents and seeing, how that over time didn't work. One of my core things that I had to grapple with, especially when it came down to relationships and marriage was I had to realize that what it boiled down really for me was that the cheating was a defense mechanism. It was me self-sabotaging a relationship. I seen my parents be married for over 20 years and they're not working. I seen my parents be married for over 20 years and then getting a divorce later on. And it's like, in my mind at the time, I'm not thinking about, okay, well, this has impact on my relationship, and okay, how is this going to develop into manifesting to me in my own relationships? I wasn't thinking that at the time, but if you witness something like that, or you witness an unhealthy relationship, it's going to have a huge impact on how you show up in your relationships moving forward. So when I talk about getting help, in addition to that is processing everything that has to do with relationships that you observed growing up. And how did that manifest to you behaving in the manner in which you feel like you needed to cheat in your relationship? And the other part of this, in which I wish somebody told me, was that I cannot restore the relationship by doing the work by myself. There's no possible way, and I want y'all to hear this, there's no possible way, if you cheated in a relationship, that you healing is the foundation of the relationship working out. And what I mean by that, like, Terrence, what do you mean by that? Like, what does it mean that the foundation of the relationship working out is not dependent on the person that cheated is healing? What I mean by that is there's going to be two components to this in which is going to actually make a relationship work. I'm gonna pause right here, and I appreciate y'all for watching this video up until this point. If you have not already, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure y'all share this video with somebody who may be interested in learning a little bit more about how to heal from cheating and what to do now. I appreciate y'all for watching the video thus far. Now let's get right back into it. The first component is you cheating and you doing the work and healing from it by getting the help. By exploring what you did, obviously, like, showing that you're remorseful and showing that you're sorry and showing that you are, you want to make things work. The other part of this is the person that was cheated on. That is probably, in my opinion, my personal and professional opinion, the most important part of this whole situation. And why do I say that? Because it takes a lot for somebody to get cheated on and take somebody back, forgiving them and trying to have a healthy relationship moving forward. The thing with this and the issue with this is the person that cheated can do all the work. Go to therapy, explore their abandonment issues, attachment issues. They can do all the work, and until they're tired of doing it, they can do all the work. But if the person that was cheated on isn't willing to do the work either, then chances of you guys getting back together is going to be zero. It's going to be 0%. You guys can try to get back together. You guys can say you're together, but it's not going to work. It's just not going to work. I'm not here to sugarcoat or anything like that. Like, again, you could have cheated, done all the work, but the person's not willing to do the work as well. It's not going to work. They're always going to be resentful. They're not going to forgive you. They're not going to process their own hurt. It's always going to be you in the doghouse, essentially. Like, you are always going to have to prove yourself. And understandably so, like, the person that got cheated on may need some time to process. They may need some, some time to heal, and they may be confused and may not be able to make a decision right then and there. But if they don't do the work, it's not going to work. If they simply don't do the work, it's not going to work. So, a question that can be helpful in asking, especially if you cheated already, is asking the person, are they willing to do the work to make it work? Even though I cheated on you, are you willing to do the work to make it work? And it may sound kind of like condescending, like, why do I have to do anything? You cheated on me. Like, why do I have to do the work? Like, why do I have to grasp this whole thing? Like, why do I have to do anything? I should be able to sit back, relax, and watch you do all the work and making this work. The thing is, yes, That sounds good. You should, as a person that cheated, you should want, if you want to restore the relationship, you should want to, do everything you can in order for you to make it work. But the other person can't just sit back and relax. They're going to do some work too. And if they're not willing to do the work, I would say, as somebody that's cheated and they give you that answer, then it'd probably be best to cut ties. If they say, I don't know, then you have to make a conscious decision if you are willing to stick it out through the thick and the thin with the possibility, a very strong possibility, that it's not going to work out. Because at either point in time, the other person's going to have to do some work as well, too. It's a two-way street when it comes to cheating. Now, if you're the other person, you have to be really, really, really firm in if you really want to do the work. Because the work isn't just, oh, I forgive you. Or the work isn't just, hey, I'm going to go to therapy and process my emotions as well, too. The work really comes down to when you're ruminating around those thoughts of like, the other person cheating, or, you're maybe visually imagining it, or you're you may see him or her talking to, another man or another woman. You may see all these things and these triggers are going to come up. What do you do when those triggers come up? Fun fact, those triggers may not always go away completely. Why? Because the trust is gone and you don't, or you never will. I would say this, like it would be unrealistic to say you would, but in my professional and personal opinion, it's not facts. You will never see that person the same ever again. After they've done something like that, you will never see them the same again. It's not possible. You may forgive them, but it's going to be hard for you not to see them in that same light. Right? So, if you cheated, one part of this, and again, I wish somebody told me, is like, you need to do the work. You need to figure out what happened. Even if the relationship doesn't work, the next relationship you get into, you can learn from it. The other part is the work doesn't strictly rely only on you. The other person has to be open to doing the work as well, too. Now, I hope this video was helpful in your journey and trying to heal from the cheating that you did. Make sure you guys like, comment, share, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate y'all for tapping in with me.